Hey y'all, this is part 2 of the 4-part lesson on chord scales and arpeggiating chord scales. As I said, I think this is the best way to get to know the neck of the instrument and to really feel free to improvise and understand chord progressions and substitutions and everything we'll be getting into later. We're going to start this one with the third note of each chord being the highest note we play. Last week we did it with the first note. In many ways, these chords actually sound better. You may find a lot more use for these chords than you will with the first note on top. That said, it's going to take a little practice. They are, to me, a little harder to arpeggiate because I'm not starting and ending on the first note of the chord. I'm starting and ending on the third note of the chord. So we'll go slowly through that. If you need to go back and review our lessons on major sevens, minor sevens, dominant sevens, and minor sevens, flat fives, do so. Those videos are right there on YouTube, and I'll have the chord chart in the show notes, so you can refer to it. The shapes, if you want to call them, that we're using are actually pretty simple. Your third note of a C chord, C, E, G, right? C, D, E. So that becomes note number 3 is the E. Or here, yeah. If we were playing the full 4-note chord, your major 7 chord would be here. We'd have E. We'd have, our C would be, let me see. Yeah, our C would be there. A, B, C, yep. So right now our B would be there. That's why it felt funny. Our B would be there. Our C would be here. So E on the first string, B on the second string, C on the third string, and G on the fourth string. And it's got a nice ring to it. That's actually a chord I don't mind playing that high on the neck, but of course I wouldn't try to sing along with it. So anyway. Now to do a minor 7, all we got to do is move the third note back 1 fret. So we're just going to reverse those 2 strings and play it as an E flat. So we've gone from E natural to E flat. It's the only difference between the major and minor 7 chord. Now to do a dominant 7, we'll move our B back 1 to a B flat. So that's just moving 1 finger, 1 fret. And for our minor 7 flat 5, we're going to leave only our C in its natural position. We'll move the E back, we'll move the G back, we'll move the B back. That's it. It's that simple. Now, and you know, write that down if you need to. But this chord is like so basic. It's just like that. And so for your dominant 7, move that one back. For your minor 7, move that one back. For your minor 7 flat 5, move them all 3 back, making that really the easiest minor 7 flat 5 chord there is. So now we want to end here. That's going to be the highest note we're going to play in this chord scale. So to start with, we're going to find how to play a 3-note major 7 here on the E on the second string. So all we're going to do is pick these fingers up and move them down. So like that. I've got E, B, C. So that's a C major 7 chord with the third note being the highest note we're playing, and it's only a 3-note chord. Now we'll move up to D, and I'm just going to pull that back. D minor 7. So it's that simple. For the E, we'll put the G on top. So we're back to 4-note chords there. For the F, we're back to that G dominant 7. So it was F major 7 to G dominant 7. A minor 7 with the C on top. Minor 7 flat 5. Oops, nope, I'm off. Where'd it go? With the C on top. And then, we would put the D on top there. Is that right? Yeah. No? Yeah. Yep. So. Just play it clearly. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so you're going to want to look at the chord chart, or you're going to want to think it through as you play it. Now, when it comes to arpeggiating these, take it slowly. You're going to have to think them through, because you're not starting and ending on the C note when you're playing C major 7. You're going to start and end on the E note. So they're easier to play up than they are back, for me anyway. Maybe the other way around for you. Start with your lowest E, which is going to be here. So E, G, B, C, E. And now you'll notice the really interesting thing about playing with the thirds on top. And that's because the third note of any chord is what dictates whether it's major or minor. When we play C major scale, starting with the third note, it gives it a minor sound. So when we're playing our arpeggios, it's really emphasizing the sort of melancholy sound of like a minor chord, even when the chord is major. Now this gives us a lot of color we can add when we're soloing, whenever we're playing, you know. So let's do this. It's E, G, B, C, E, C, B, G, E. And then as we move up to our D minor 7, D. What is that? That's sorry, F, A, C, D, F, B, C, A, F. For our E minor 7 chord, we're going from G let's see what that is. That's E, B, D, E. Yeah, what is that? G. Yeah, G, E, D, B, G. And then we're to our F major 7. Of course, you could play. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can go with the open A here. Doesn't bother me any way you want to do it. Anyway, it's A, C, E, F, A, F, E, C, A. For our G7, we're going to start on B, the third note of the B. So B, D, F, G, B. Again, you got an alternate fingering there. You could go B, D, F, G. All right, A minor 7, we're going to start on the C. C, E, G, A, C, A, G, E, C. B minor 7, flat 5, we're going to go D. Now that becomes a good sounding, the arpeggio sounds a lot better than the chord, really. So D, F, A, B, D, B, A, F, D. And now we're back to C. So E, G, B, C, E, C, B, G. And then of course if you want to try to play them backwards, that's where it gets tricky for me, but you know, it may work easier for you. lost my place, I think. Yeah, did I? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, well, I started from the wrong spot. That's why I did it wrong. Okay, so, yeah. Okay. And that's when using the different fingerings just gets real tricky. I tend to lose my place at that point. That was for the G, so now we're at F. That's going to be A, F, E, C, A, or A. What from, that was F. The next note for that is E. So, that can't be right. Yeah, it is. If I'm playing in this position. Or probably more like this. I've totally lost my place now, but anyway. So, really useful. Takes a little mental gymnastics. Once you actually get those patterns down, so you're just going. So, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to be able to play them without having to think. So, yeah, it's not too difficult. Just go through. And yeah, get the chord chart, refer to it, look for the ones that show the 3 on top. And remember, chord scales always go major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor flat 5, and then back to major 7. So, very pretty chords, in my opinion. If I have a song I'm playing and it's appropriate to the melody, if I'm playing a minor 7 chord, I'm always going to put the 3 on top. I just think it sounds better. I like it. Let's see. Like, what was that? E? No, that could be. Yeah, that was E. Yeah, this would be E. Like that, you know. I can put the G on top. Otherwise, I've got to put the E somewhere on top, and that gets tricky. So, you know, I like these chords. They sound particularly good on the mandolin. It may take you a little while. As I said, it's going to take you 30 minutes to maybe even an hour to learn each of these chord scales, because you're going to be referring back and forth the chord chart, or you'll be looking at my fingerings as I'm playing. But once you get them down, you can just rip through them in about a minute to 2 each day. You can play your chord scales, you can play your arpeggios. Do that every day for a year, and you're going to be a phenomenal mandolin player. You're going to be able to solo and improvise, because whatever comes into your head, your fingers will immediately find on the neck, on the fretboard. And when you're playing just chords, you can play really colorful chords like these. These are far more colorful with the 3 on top than they are with the 1 on top. And that gives you another way of playing chord melody, because now you can look at it and say you're playing over a C major 7 chord. And maybe the first note's C and the next note is E. Well, you can now move your fingers into those positions and play chord and melody at the same time. Something's also going to take a lot of practice, but this is the first step. Definitely the first step, and I think you're going to find chords that you really, really like. As I've said before, you're not going to play major 7s and minor 7s in bluegrass, sometimes in blues, all the time in jazz, but you'll always be playing dominant 7 chords. And now, you know, you get your scales down, and you know the dominant 7 chord in every key in every position. And as I've explained, If you know where your dominant 7 chord is in every key and every position, you know every chord on the neck, because all you have to do is move 1 or 2 fingers 1 fret. That's it. I mean, I just showed you how to turn a major 7 into a minor 7 into a minor 7 flat 5. All that can be done from the dominant 7. And of course, if you just had to play a regular major or minor chord, just take your finger off the 7. As long as you found your dominant 7 chord, you know every single chord on the neck of this instrument. You just have to know which note under your fingers is the 3rd and which note's the 5th. And you're good to go. Even if you wanted to play a 9th chord, then you would just move your tonic, your first note, up 2 frets. That's a real simple trick to a 9th chord. Say I was playing that, C7, C dominant 7 out of here. This finger's sitting on the C note. To play a 9th, all I gotta do is play it here. A lot of tension, sort of an interesting sounding chord that wants to resolve just like a 7 chord does. So, and super easy from that point to play a 9th flat, well, a minor 9th, minor 9 augmented, minor 9 diminished, or flat 5, 6th. You can do a 6-9 chord. Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, and it makes total sense. Or sharp 9, or an 11th. Just move that up another 2 frets. So when you see some crazy chord chart that's written for a pianist, and it's showing like a minor 11 with a raised 5th or something, you're thinking, there's no way a mandolin player can play that. Well, actually, you really can. You know your 11th note is just 4 frets above your first note, because the first note becomes the 8th. Like if, say, we got, of course, a C here, but we got a C here, and we got a C here. So let's say this was our first C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. C is technically now our 8th note. So a 9 and 10 and 11. So I guess it's 5 frets up. It becomes an 11th. Sharp 11th even, piece of cake. Really, once you get your dominant 7s down. And there's really no easier way to learn them than there is playing chord scales, because you see how your major 7 is becoming a minor 7, is becoming a dominant 7, is becoming a minor 7 flat 5. You know the relationship, you know which notes are changing, and so you have no doubt what the 3rd is if you want to turn a major chord into a minor. You know your 3rd is in the C scale, it's an E. And it's right there under your fingertips. You know if you need to alter the 5th. You know if you want to turn a 7th chord into a 6th chord just by moving back 1 more fret. And 6th chords sound fantastic on the mandolin. So y'all have a good one. Remember, email me if you have any questions, or leave a question in the comments. I'll answer it right away. It's judson@judsoncarroll.com, or you can just use the comment section on YouTube. I will put the chord charts in the note. And hopefully next week we can move on to lesson 3 with the 5th note of the chord being the highest we'll play. But if you need some time, if you need an extra week, and you don't want to fall behind, just let me know. I think if 1 or 2 people need an extra week to get this down, then just about everybody probably needs an extra week to get this down. But once you got it down, you got it down. And you'll be really, really glad you did. All right, y'all, have a good one. I will talk to you next time.